السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخنا. أحسن الله إليكم.
آمين وإياكم أبا يوسف. كيف الحال؟
الحمد لله بخير يا شيخنا.
Can we go with the class? We are already late.
نعم يا شيخنا.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. We'll be proceeding this class from our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad by Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah, Abu Abdullah. We'll be proceeding with Hadith number 305, and that occurs under Babu ma yajibu min awn al-mal'uf. Babu ma yajibu min awn al-mal'uf. A chapter about the obligation of helping al-mal'uf. Al-mal'uf is al-mahzun, al-makrub. Al-mahzun is the one who is consumed in sadness, is consumed in troubles, is consumed in trials. This chapter seeks to make us understand that we have an obligation to help such a person. One Muslim is consumed in a trial regarding himself, in a trial regarding his wife, his children, his relatives, his work, and his place of work is in trouble. So he becomes mahzun, he becomes consumed in al-hazan, he becomes consumed in sadness, in grief. So this individual is referred to as al-mal'uf. May Allah protect all of us. So this chapter seeks to make us understand what is it that the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam has commanded us to do regarding al-mal'uf, the Muslim who is covered up in grief and sadness. How do you help that person? And what is the ruling? What is the commandment, the instructions from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam regarding him? Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah under this chapter has mentioned two hadith, and those hadith occur as hadith 305 and as hadith 306. In hadith 305, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri said, rahimahullah, حدثنا الأويسي قال حدثنا عبد-الرحمن قال حدثنا عبد-الرحمن ابن أبي الزناد عن أبيه عن عروة عن أبي مراوح عن أبي ذر سئل النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أي الأعمال خير؟ قال إيمان بالله وجهاد في سبيله. قال فأي الرقاب أفضل؟ قال أغلاها ثمنا وأنفسها عند أهلها. قال فرأيت إن لم أستطع بعض العمل؟ قال تعين ضائعا أو تصنع لأخرق. قال أفرأيت إن ضعفت؟ قال تدع الناس من الشر فإنها صدقة تصدقها على نفسك. الإمام البخاري رحمه الله said حدثنا الأويسي قال حدثنا عبد-الرحمن ابن أبي الزناد. The Shaykh of Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri in this hadith is Al-Imām Al-Uwaisi Abdul-Aziz ibn Abdullah Abul Qasim Abdul-Aziz ibn Abdullah Al-Uwaisi. He is the Shaykh of Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri for this hadith in this isnad. If we pay a good attention to this hadith, we will note that the hadith is occurring for the third time in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. Firstly, it occurs as Hadith 220. If we go back to our text, the Hadith we are reading today is Hadith of Abdur-Raūf Al-Ghifari, radiyallahu anhu. It firstly occurs in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, as Hadith 220. In Hadith 220, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri reports it from his Shaykh, Al-Imām Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais. And we remember Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais, the son of the sister of Al-Imām Malik. Al-Imām Malik had a sister. Her son was Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais. And Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais became one of the teachers of Al-Imām Malik. And from among those that whenever Al-Imām Al-Bukhari reported from Al-Imām Malik, he reported directly from Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais, from the student of Malik that Al-Imām Al-Bukhari reached was Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais. So when the hadith we are studying today was mentioned firstly as Hadith 220, we would note that Al-Imām Al-Bukhari reported it from Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais. It was Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais who was reporting from Abdur-Raūf ibn Abi Zinad. So you see, Al-Imām Al-Bukhari has repeated the hadith, but with a different isnad. He firstly mentioned it from his Shaykh, Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais. But when he mentioned it here in 305, he is reporting it from Abul Qasim Al-Uwaisi, rahimahumullah. Likewise, if we go back to Hadith 226, which is the second time this hadith we are studying today, the hadith of Abu Dharr al-Ghifari occurs in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, Hadith 226. This hadith also occurs as Hadith 226. 305 occurs in 220. It also occurs in 226. In 226, Al-Imām Al-Bukhari reported it from the Shaykh Musaddad ibn Musarhad. In 220, he reported it from Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais. In 226, he reported it from Musaddad ibn Musarhad ibn Musarhad, that eminent teacher of Al-Imām Al-Bukhari and student of Al-Imām Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And Imam Musaddad ibn Musarhad became one of those who firstly compiled a hadith in books as we have them today. Musaddad ibn Musarhad. So Al-Imam Al-Bukhari is now reporting the same hadith for the third time, and he is reporting it from another Shaykh, different from Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais, and who Musaddad ibn Musarhad is reporting the same hadith with the same expression from another Shaykh, and that is Al-Imām Abul Qasim Al-Uwaisi. So you see, the pattern of repeating a hadith is not just about repeating the hadith. There is additional benefit from all those that this same hadith, with the same expression, a man goes to Baghdad and reports a hadith from a Shaykh with an isnad. He comes to Lagos. He reports the same hadith with the same expression from another teacher. He goes to Russia. He reports the same hadith from another Shaykh. So when he compiles a book, he wants to let you know that this hadith is a well-known hadith, and it has been variously reported by the Ai-Imam in various places, such that the possibility or any kind of a possibility on agreeing to a lie is far-fetched. Any sort of an agreement is far-fetched. And this goes to make us understand how painstaking the scholars of hadith were. So the repetition was not just about repetition, or it is a repetition with an additional benefit. It's a repetition with an additional benefit. The second issue we like to mention about that hadith and how it has been reported in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad by Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah, is that apart from reporting on the three occasions from three different teachers, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri mentioned them under three different chapters. In 220, he mentioned the hadith as under the chapter Babu Ma'unatir Rajuli Akhahu. Babu Ma'unatir Rajuli Akhahu. The chapter about a Muslim helping his brother. But he just helps his brother. The hadith is relevant under that chapter heading. Babu Ma'unatir Rajuli Akhahu. The chapter about encouragement in the Sharia for a Muslim to help his brother. The hadith is relevant there. It was firstly mentioned like that. If we come to hadith 226, it occurs as Babuni Inna Kulla Ma'rufin Saddaqa. The chapter about that Kullu Ma'rufin Saddaqa. Every act of goodness gets the reward of charity. Every act of goodness gets the reward of charity. The hadith is also relevant under that chapter heading. And here under our chapter heading, it says, Babu ma yajidu min awnil malhuf. The chapter about the obligation of helping a person who is in difficulty. The first one says helping a Muslim. That Muslim is in difficulty or not helping. But here it says the Muslim is in difficulty, so it is a greater need that he may be helped. In the other chapter it says help a Muslim. Here it says help a grieving Muslim, help a sad Muslim. Just like we also treated Ash-Shaykh and Al-Bukhāri separately, even though they are connected. Ash-Shaykh is a person having claim for other people's wealth. He wants from others, and he cannot give from himself. This is Ash-Shaykh. But Al-Bukhāri is that he only keeps his own. Al-Bukhāri, he keeps his own. Ash-Shaykh, he keeps his own and he wants that from others. The two of them were treated separately. Likewise, Ad-Dahik and Ibtisam. Ad-Dahik is laughter. It was treated separately. And Ibtisam, smiling also is treated separately. These books explain how taking these scholars and very watchful they are about these issues. Yes, they are connected, but at the same time they are separate. So they bring the hadith under different chapter headings based on the content of that hadith. So perhaps longer a hadith is relevant on a particular chapter, they go back to repeat the hadith, but they repeat it like Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri will do. They would repeat that hadith with an additional benefit, so that it's not just a repetition as a repetition would be. So here Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah reported that hadith under Babu ma yajibu min awn al-malhuf, the chapter about the obligation of helping a grieving Muslim who seriously needs help. And Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri is reporting it from his Shaykh, Al-Imām Abdul-Aziz ibn Abdullah Al-Uwaysi. So he said, حدثنا Al-Uwaysi, قال حدثنا Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi Zinad. Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi Zinad. What this means is that Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi Zinad has had this hadith also reported from him by Al-Imām Ismā'īl ibn Abi Uwais, as we have in Hadith 220. But as for Hadith 226, Musaddadun ibn Mustarhad was reporting it from his Shaykh Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan. Musaddad ibn Mustarhad was reporting it from the eminent scholar of Hadith Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan in 226. In 226, Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi Zinad does not occur in Isnad completely, yet the expressions of the hadith are exactly the same. This goes to make us understand how exact and precise these scholars were in the various generations to preserve that hadith. So Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri's Shaykh, Al-Imām Al-Uwaysi, he was reporting from Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi Zinad, who is reporting from his father, the father of Abdur-Rahman, Abu Zinad. It is Abdullah ibn Zakwan al-Madani. Abdur-Rahman ibn Abd-Zinad is reporting from his father, Abdullah ibn Zakwan. So Abu-Zinad, the father of Abdur-Rahman, he is Abdullah ibn Zakwan al-Madani, rahimahullah, who is reporting this hadith from Urwa ibn Zubayr. We recall Urwa ibn Zubayr, the younger brother of Abdullah ibn Zubayr, that's the Tabi'i, and he is reporting from Abu Murawih. He is Sa'd al-Ghafari. Abu Murawih, he is Sa'd al-Ghafari. That means he's from the same tribe with the companion of this hadith, Abu Dharr al-Ghafari, Jundub ibn Mujnada, radiyallahu anhu, is also from Banu Ghifar. Like Abu Murawih is from Banu Ghifar. That's why he is al-Ghifari. Just like this companion, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, he is also from Banu Ghifar. From amongst those who accepted Islam, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari radiyallahu anhu, he accepted Islam in Makkah, and he returned to his people, Banu Ghifar. He invited them to Islam, and the entire community came to accept Islam with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Abu Dharr al-Ghifari is a companion in this hadith. We also notice from this hadith that about two from amongst the Tabi'un have followed themselves in this Islam. The first one is Abu Murawih, Sa'd al-Ghifari. Sa'd al-Ghifari, Abu Murawih, is a Tabi'i. Another Tabi'i was who? Urwa ibn Zubayr, radiyallahu anhum. Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, the companion, said, سئل النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أي الأعمال خير. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, the Prophet of Allah, he was asked, أي الأعمال خير? Which of the good deeds is best? Which good deed is best? أي الأعمال? From all the good deeds we have, which of them is best? We have believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have salah. We have zakah. We have hajj. We have umrah. We have all these good deeds. Various nawafil. Various kinds of fasting. As we might have been fasting today, as today occurs to be the 9th day of Muharram. Yawmu Tasu'ah. So all these good deeds. Ajul A'mal, which of them in itself is the best of good deeds? The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Imanun billah. This hadith is to make us understand that Iman is from the aspect of deeds. Iman includes good deeds. Good deeds fall from the aspect of Iman. That's why when he was asked about the best of good deeds, he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Iman billah. The first and the best of all the good deeds is that the person is a person of Iman. The person must believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messengership of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and in other aspects of the matter of belief. So all of these must reflect in the actions of the individual. All of these must reflect in the actions of the individual. And that means that actions also are from the aspects of Iman. So the best of good deeds is Iman billah, belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam followed it with what? وَجِهَادٌ فِي سَبِيلِهِ, and jihad upon the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all its forms. Jihadun fi sabilillah. Jihad, struggling upon the path of Allah in all its forms. From jihadun fi sabilillah is jihadun nafs, the struggle regarding our souls, how to free our souls from hypocrisy, nifaq, how to free our souls from hasad, how to free our souls from hasad, jealousy and envy, how to free our souls from bughd, hatred, and the rest of the other diseases of the heart. Jihad includes all of these. Jihad also includes how to remain steadfast upon the deen of Allah. We know that it's a very, very big struggle. Jihad includes also how to rectify. How do I rectify my own character? How do you rectify your character? It requires a lot of struggle. All of those struggles are mentioned from the aspect of jihad fi sabilillah, and from that is jihad al-qitāl itself, fighting upon the path of Allah to establish the deen of Allah, fighting upon the path of Allah to establish the deen of Allah. All of them upon their various rules as variously explained in the details of the deen. If we go for jihad, jihad of fighting, qitāl, jihad with qitāl, whether in defense or in arms, because it can be from the two. The Muslims may be captured, may be covered up in an attack by the non-Muslims. This jihad of defense, jihad with difa. Yes, we make difa. We defend the Muslims against the non-Muslims' aggression. Jihad can also be in advancement. War can be in advancement. We advance. You people come into Islam. We invite them onto Islam. We say, no, we don't want Islam. These are that. We say, okay, let us have access to the rank and file of the people. They say, no, you can't have access to the rank and file of the people. The Muslims have the right to fight the hedge by way of having access to the rank and file of the people. So jihad can be in an advancement. It's not just about a defense. Jihad can be defense. Jihad can also be in advancement. So this is also from the aspects of good deeds. Jihad in all its forms. That's what why it says jihadun fi sabilillah. The jihad upon the path of Allah. Which of them that it may be. This also forms from the aspects of the best of deeds. The Prophet stopped there, alayhi salatu wasalam. So the man asked again, وَأَيُّ الرِّقَابِ أَفْضَلُ? Messenger of Allah, what form of freeing a slave is better? What kind of freeing a slave is best? أَيُّ الرِّقَابِ? Al-riqab is freeing a slave. The riqab is the slave itself. Which of them is the freeing the slave? Which of them is best? That is, how best do I free slave? How best do we free slave? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أَغْلَاهَا ثَمَنًا وَأَنْفَسُهَا عِنْدَ أَهْلِهَا. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, the best slave to free is أَغْلَاهَا ثَمَنًا. At those times when the slaves, they used to be sold and they used to be freed. For each of the slaves, they would know which one has the biggest price on him or on her, as the case may be. So the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Aglaha Tamana, the most expensive of the slaves is the slave to free. The slave to free is the most expensive. وَأَنْفَسُهَا عِنْدَ أَهْلِهَا. And the most beneficial, the most pricey to the owners of the slave. That's the best to free him. That comes from the aspect of that لَا تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. We will not attain righteousness until we spend from those things we like best. So in this case, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam encouraged freeing the slave. The better the slave, the more encouraged we are in Islam to free the slave. See, upon everything in Islam, we say, free the slave, free the slave, free the slave. And the companions, radiallahu anhum, did a lot of that. People like Abu Bakr and Siddiq, radiallahu anhu, Uthman bin Affan, they freed a lot of slaves. Umar, radiallahu anhu, even the Prophet himself, alayhi salam, they freed slaves a lot. So So the more expensive, the more valuable a slave is, the more encouraged it is for that slave to be free. You can ask, what does it mean, a slave being valuable? You can imagine if a slave were to be a doctor. If the slave was a lawyer, he can read, he can write, and then he becomes a prisoner, captive in a war. The value is much more than the other captive in a war who does not know the art of writing. So the other one has a bigger value. So those are the ones Islam encourages. Each time you want to free a slave, free the best of your slave. A slave who has secondary school education, you can't compare that slave with a slave who has university education. Which one do you free if you want to free a slave? The one with university education, because that is the one who is most likely more valuable to the owners of the slave. Islam encourages free the slave, free the slave, free the slave, free the slave. So when that companion asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, how you prefer the afdal, which of the slaves is best freed? The Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam, Aghlaha Samana, the most expensive of them, wa anfasuha inda ahliha. That is also the one that is most valuable to the owner of it. Then he asked again, أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ لَمْ أَسْتَطِعْ بَعْضُ الْأَمَلِ. Because these companions would only ask the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam because they want to follow. It is a point of a major difference between we and the companions. The companions, when they asked the Prophet the question, radiyallahu anhu wa alayhi salatu wassalam, they would ask him because they want to obey. They would ask him because they want to do it. This man came to ask for the best of me so that he can stick to it and be doing it. But when the deeds are being mentioned, you have to pray it. Jihad is a big aspect. He then asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ لَمْ أَسْتَطِعْ بَعْضُ الْأَمَلِ. Oh Messenger, these are big, highly rewarding deeds. What do you advise? أَفَرَأَيْتَ. How do you consider it? إِنْ لَمْ أَسْتَطِعْ بَعْضَ الْأَمَلِ. If I become unable to do some of these deeds, I'm not able to free a slave. I don't have what it takes to go for jihad. Perhaps it's not a question of strength, because also during jihad, people who are instated, who are brought into the army, are people with a lot of physical fitness and good ability. At that time, they could fire the arrows properly, they could show they could fight properly. So he might not have all of these abilities to be instated in the army. He might not also have a slave. How many companions live without having anything? And yet the Prophet was saying, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the best of these is Iman billah, okay, yes, Iman billah, and jihad fi sabilillah, fighting jihad in the path of Allah, freeing a slave, and all of these. What if I don't have an ability to do this? The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, tu'inu da'i'a, tu'inu da'i'a. ضائع الفقير ذو العيال. الفقير ذو العيال. الضائع here, the ulama say that is al-faqir. It's like saying تعين الفقير. If you don't have the ability to go for jihad, you don't have the ability to fund those who are going for a valid jihad recognized in the Sharia. You don't have all of these abilities. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, tu'inu da'i'a. Help a poor person, who has a lot of dependents. A poor person. He is not a rich person. Yet, he has a lot of dependents on him. He has wives, he has children, he has grandparents, he has parents, he has in-laws, he has a lot of dependents. Look for one of them and start helping them. Ad-Da'i', the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, tu'inu da'i'a. Help a poor person with a lot of dependence on him. أو تصنع لأخرق. أو تصنع الأخرق. يعني الأخرق is that individual الذي لا يحسن عمله. Is an individual and he doesn't know how well to proceed upon his job. Someone is a carpenter and job of carpentry, he does not know it very well. One of the ways, one of the best would be to go to that carpenter and help him upon how to become a better carpenter. Maybe he needs to buy some equipment or think upon becoming a better carpenter. You have a bricklayer and he's not doing the job well. You can help him, teach him, help him find additional knowledge regarding his job. Help him, advise him. Maybe he does not have sufficient equipment to do the job. Help him, provide him the job so that he can do his work. These are from the biggest acts of good deeds. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, "Tasna'u al-akhraq." You help a person who is upon a job, but is not doing it very well. Approach him, help him try to do it very well. Now, this helping someone to do the job very well. For some people, we are so finicky to such an extent that even people who know the job, to us, they don't know the job. Because anybody who is not a 95% candidate upon his job, we consider them, they don't know the job. A brother spoke English in a garden one day. This person at that time, he has had a master's degree in electronics engineering. And one of the brothers began to make a guess at him that he does not know English. Don't say he does not know English. He knows English. If he does not know English, how did he obtain a master's degree in an English-speaking country? He obtained the first degree, he obtained the second degree. So how do you say he does not know English? Let us mind our expression. Let us not report people because of 1, 2, 3 faults they may have. They may have one fault regarding a matter. You say he does not know the act. You are a violent. You are a violent. You are a violent. He spoke English, perhaps in the matter of tenses or any other thing, he had 1, 2, 3 faults. A person may know a job and still err. Even judges err in rulings. As learned as lawyers and judges claim they are, they still make errors when they judge. So that's why there are smaller courts. From a high court, they say go to an appeal court. From an appeal court, they say go to a Supreme Court. These are all qualified judges from all the courts. But they say the lower court erred in judgment. So if the person erred in judgment, does that now mean he does not know the law? The person has undergone training. 25 years he was under training upon a particular thing. He says he does not know it because he erred in 1, 2, 3 matters. This is something some people who think that they are emotionally intelligent do a lot. When they criticize people, they are not balanced. They take 1, 2 faults of people to wave them all aside. If the person was falsely regarding 1, 2, 3 things upon his job, he says he does not know it because he errs. He himself errs. This person himself has a lot of errors on his leg, even regarding his job. Yet when others err, he sets them aside as if they did not know anything at all. This is injustice people do regarding people. It's a lot of injustice. It's a lot of injustice. You see a learned person, you ask him a question. He gave you an answer. You later found out, oh, he was wrong. He could have been wrong. It is not from the condition of the scholar that he knows everything. And he was never, ever going to become erring in any matter. Just of err. Everybody errs upon the job. Upon the job. So if you say because he erred 1, 2, perhaps when you are giving him the details of the job, he did not get 1 or 2 things right, or he got it right. During the construction stuff, he erred in judgment and he misplaced what he was supposed to do. So you come back and say, hey, Masha, Papa, you don't know this job, and you begin to criticize some people can write volumes about other people's faults. We are coming back to that in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. Fault finder. Fault finder. What did the Prophet say, alayhi salatu wasalam, regarding them? So if we say that the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that one of the best of good deeds is tasna with akhlaq. Find a means of helping a person who is upon a job, but he has not perfected that job. Let it not be upon your own shift interpretation of how a job may be perfected. Your own fault-finding approach to how a job may be perfected. Look for a person who truly is upon a job and upon a balanced thought, he needs some sort of a help. Try to help such a person. Find a means of helping a person who is upon a job where he cannot perfect the job. I think this is the point of reference in this hadith, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, from the best of good deeds is Al-Adab, helping a person who is poor. The helping of a person who is poor is Awnul Malhuf. Al-Malhuf is a person who is distressed. It's a person who is grieving, is under a trouble. This usually happens to a man who has a lot of dependents but is poor. A poor man with a lot of dependents on him, you usually find them to become makrubun. They are always makrub. They are always malhuf. They are always in trouble. They are always in grief. So the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, tu'inu da'i'a. Help a man. Find a means to help a man. He has a lot of dependence, and at the same time, this man is poor. Look for a means to help him. Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri placed it on the hadith under the chapter heading, مَا يَجِبُ مِنْ عَوْنِ الْمَلْهُوفِ. What the obligation is regarding helping al-malhuf, a person who is distressed. And two people who are usually distressed is that man who has a lot of family, a lot of dependents, for he himself is poor. Or that he is an akhraq. He wants to improve upon his job, but he can't find a means to do so. If a man is upon a job, he wants to improve his skills, he wants to get better upon the job, but he can't find a means to get better upon the job. You usually find them, they are usually grieving. Every morning when they stand up to go to their place of work, you see that sadness written upon their face. Please find a means of helping these kinds of people. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has counted your helping them from among the biggest of good deeds. This companion who was asking that question, he said again to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ ضَعُفْتُ, Messenger of Allah, if I'm a weak person, I don't have the strength and the financial capability to help a man who has a lot of dependents and is poor. I don't have what it takes to help him. Likewise, al-akhraq, a man that is upon his job, I don't have the physical ability or the mental ability to help him upon the job. I am weak. I'm unable to do that. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, تَدَعُ النَّاسَ مِنَ الشَّرِّ تَدَعُ النَّاسَ مِنَ الشَّرِّ دَعَكَ النَّاسِ مِنَ الشَّرِّ. For the sake of Allah, leave the people, don't bring harm to them. Let us understand this point. We had read it in the previous hadith in this book. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam counts leaving people away. Don't bring harm to the people. It's sadaqah. Sadaqah is not just about extending goodness to them. Don't bring harm to them. Don't bring harm to them. If you don't bring harm to the people, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, you are not bringing harm to the people. He refers to it as what sadaqatun tasaddaqaha ala nafsik. It's a charity that you do to yourself, holding back evil from people. It's sadaqah. So you say to people, I don't have money to give you. I can't help you physically. I can't help you mentally. I can't help you grow your business. I can't help you, better your handwork. I can't help you upon tailoring. I can't provide a machine for you to sew clothes. I can't do all of this. Then don't bring harm to the man. Allow the man to go. Don't bring a bad mouth to the man. Some of us, our mouths are things that can destabilize people so much that for a whole week they'll be bothered about what you say to them. Be careful. Do sadaqah to yourself now. Hold back your tongue. Hold back your bad tongue away from the people. When you hold back your bad tongue from the people, you are making sadaqah to yourself. And you will be rewarded for making sadaqah to yourself. Because you have been able to hold back your own harm to yourself. And that will earn you reward from Allah. To hold back your harm, the harm from your mouth, the harm from your character. Hold it back. Keep it to yourself. Don't bring your problem to the rest of the people. And this is one of the manifestations of depression. When people are depressed, especially men, psychologists say that when women are depressed, they keep to themselves more at the beginning. You see, she starts withdrawing. She starts being unable to talk to her husband, and so on. But when the men are depressed, one of the things they do at the beginning, that they are aggressive. That's why what story is my brother in Lagos. When you come to Lagos, about everybody is aggressive. About everybody is aggressive. He wants to beat this one. He wants to fight this one. He wants to hit this one. How do you say to somebody, you better leave the road or I hit you with your car? I mean, if you hit someone else with your car gets spoiled. His car gets spoiled. Which same person says that? But the people are largely depressed. So you see them aggressive. They want to hit you, they want to hit your car, they want to get you off the road, they want to curse you, they want to abuse you without provocation. So these kinds of persons, the advice is that you keep your harm to yourself. When you keep your harm to yourself, you're a reasonable person. You gain sadaqah. The rewards of sadaqah become recorded for you. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told the one who finds not the money to spend, the one who finds not the mental ability to help people, he does not have the knowledge to give people good advice about their job. Good advice with good words. Good advice with good words. He does not have that ability. Okay. Don't bring harm to them. Leave them upon what they have. When you do that, you have helped them. You have also helped yourself. But the major point of reference in this hadith was that the man asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the best of deeds. And when he became unable to do the deed that he had pointed out to him, the man asked the Prophet again sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ لَمْ أَسْتَطِعْ بَعْضَ الْعَمَلِ أَفَرَأَيْتَ, what would you advise? How do you view it, O Messenger of Allah? إِنْ لَمْ أَسْتَطِعْ بَعْضَ الْعَمَلِ, if I become unable to do some of these good deeds, what should I do? The Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, تُعِينُ الضَّعِيَ, help a man who is distressed because of his family, because of providing for the family who is distressed. How did he come into distress? The family had become large and a job is not functioning. There are some of the people, the woman told me once, very elderly now, that her husband was very, very rich. Her husband was very rich. She said, Abu Nāsir, I said, nah, she said, things flowed. Milk and sugar everywhere was filled with comfort. And that my children went to the best of school. So we had a lot of children. But when things turned, look at where we are. She lives now in a single room and parlor. He said, even here that I live, I want to live with you. So things can happen. The person individual can have at the beginning. And then he has a large family. And then things on. The same way, don't say, oh, it is you now. Why did you have a lot of family? Sorry, it's the same way. The man can keep up one wife, one child, 2 children, and then wealth becomes trophy. Wealth becomes trophy. That if the wives were 4 and the children were 50, the wealth will still be sufficient for them, for him to take care of them. So the two can turn in either way. And Allah can help you sustain the wealth. You can start slowly and sustain the wealth. That one is from the Aqdar of Allah Subhanahu. Nobody knows it and nobody can change it. So if you find a person who is burdened because of dependence, maybe a woman is a divorcee, she's burdened because of her children. She took the children to herself. She thought that she'd be able to take care of them. Although some women in divorce take away the child because they want to punish the man emotionally. The child itself may be in the position that the father takes better care of it, but they take the child away or the children away from the man because they want to punish the man emotionally. We have said repeatedly that this kind of a thing is unlawful. So she does that. And in the end, the man says, okay, you want to take care of the children? She says, take care of them. She becomes unable to take care of the children. She can't pay school fees. She can't even close to them. These kinds of people too. Yes, we advise them to do what is lawful. Go back to the fathers of these children. Be sure that every father is taking care of his children. After we advise them, if they find a means of helping them, so there's no blame in that. Help a person who is malhoof, mahroom, mahzoon. Help a person who is distressed. Help a person who is distressed. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam counts it up from the best of good deeds. The second hadith quickly under this chapter occurs under hadith 306. And in it, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri said, rahimahullah, حدثنا حفص بن عمر حدثنا شعبة قال أخبرني سعيد بن أبي بردة سمعت أبي يحدث عن جدي سمعت أبي يحدث عن جدي عن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال على كل مسلم صدقة على كل مسلم صدقة قال أفرأيت إن لم يجد قال فليعمل فلينفع نفسه وليتصدق قال أفرأيت إن لم يستطع أو لم يفعل قال ليعن ذا حاجة الملهوف ليعن ذا الحاجة الملهوف قال أفرأيت إن لم يستطع أو لم يفعل قال فليأمر بالمعروف قال أفرأيت إن لم يستطع أو لم يفعل قال يمسك عن الشر فإنها له صدقة. This second hadith also occurs at hadith 225 in our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. Hadith 306 also occurs at hadith 225 in our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad. And it occurs from hadith of Abu Musa Al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anhu, who will not go through the Islam because the time is faster. So we quickly go to the statement of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ala kulli muslimin sadaqa, yani yajibu ala kulli muslimin sadaqa. Every Muslim has a duty to give sadaqa. Every Muslim. Whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are a father, or you are a mother, you are anybody, you have a duty to give sadaqah. Everybody should give sadaqah. قال, the Prophet was asked, alayhi salam, أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ. Right. You say it is obligatory upon every Muslim to give sadaqah. What's your view? What do you view, O Messenger of Allah? What do you consider appropriate? In lam yajid, if I don't have something to give in sadaqah, the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَلْيَعْمَلْ, let him go and do a work. You want to give sadaqah, you don't find something to give. Go and work. Work. فَلْيَنْفَعْ نَفْسَهُ, so that you can benefit yourself. وَلْيَتَصَدَّقْ, then you can give sadaqah. You want to give sadaqah, you don't have something to give. Go and do a work. Go and do a job. Look for a job. Look for a lawful means. Look for a lawful means of earning. So this is what we must understand. Every Muslim has that duty to look for a lawful earning, lawful means of putting food on the table. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَلْيَعْمَلْ, you want to give sadaqah, you don't find something to give. I'mal, work. Then tanfa' nafsak. When you work, you earn, you benefit yourself. Then tatasaddaq. After benefiting yourself, then you give sadaqah. So nobody should say, oh, we are just there, we can't give sadaqah. Go and work. Work, benefit yourself, and then give sadaqah. This is what the Prophet has said, alayhi salatu wasalam. The man asked again, أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ أَوْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ, what do you hear, O Messenger of Allah? If the man becomes unable, he's a sick person, he's a weak person, he doesn't even, he did not let his job, what should he do? He can't find a way. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لِيُعِنْ ذَا الْحَاجَةِ الْمَلْهُوفِ, لِيُعِنْ ذَا الْحَاجَةِ الْمَلْهُوفِ, let him look for a person in distress. You can't do a job, you can't find. You look for somebody in distress. Somebody is overrun by his job. Somebody is overrun by something that he is doing. Go and lend a helping hand. He's carrying something. He's doing something. That's, you're helping him to carry something. You're helping him to do something he's doing. That is also counted from the aspect of what? Sadaqah. You want to give sadaqah, you don't have to. All that your job you are doing only leaves you with what, by which you are only able to feed yourself and your family. Yes, that's also sadaqah. But what about the rest of the people? Give them sadaqah too. You can't find what to give. Right? Look for somebody you can help upon something that he is doing. Look for somebody that you can help upon something that he is doing. That person is Zul Hajati Manhur, a person who has a need and is already overpowered by that need. قَالَ أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, if the person becomes unable to help somebody who is in serious need, what does he do? The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَلْيَعْمُرْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, let him be commanding good. So from the major things of sadaqah is what we are doing now, encouraging ourselves upon goodness, which is sadaqah. Let me say this. If you say, Abu Nāsir, what do you gain from this class? I'm making sadaqah. We're encouraging ourselves upon goodness. And to encourage yourself upon goodness is from the aspect of sadaqah. So if I don't have a penny to give you, I don't have a kobo to give you, I don't have a pound to give you, I can give you these good words of reminder. Let us do good. Let us hold back from evil. So if you ask, what have I gained from you? Give mutual help upon goodness. And that itself is from the aspect of what? It's from the aspect of sadaqah. قَالَ أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, the man asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what do you consider appropriate in lam yastati'? This man, he doesn't even have any knowledge to share with the rest of the people. أَوْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ, or he simply did not do it. The Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يُمْسِكْ عَنِ الشَّرِّ, let him hold back from evil. Hold back evil is important. And I think it is very necessary we know that in our community. Giving sadaqah is not just about providing people help, giving them money, giving them any kind of an assistance, or even encouraging ourselves to do good. Not doing evil itself is sadaqah. When you don't do evil to people, you are making sadaqah. Evil never reaches anybody from you. you can take a determination. Nobody will get something evil from me. My hands and my mouth can never and will never extend evil to anybody. This is also from the aspect of sadaqah. But the major point of reference is that the Prophet ﷺ commanded all of us to give sadaqah. And he also commanded us that if you don't find what to give in sadaqah, we all should look for a paying job, do the job, help yourself, and then provide sadaqah to people. And then he was asked regarding the one who is even unable to do that. Then the Prophet said, give a helping hand to a person in distress. Give a helping hand to a person in distress. And that's also from the aspect, like we had mentioned earlier, of relieving yourself of depression. If you are relieving yourself of depression, help people. The return effect of that in your mind is that Allah will grant you joy and happiness. This chapter is about the obligation of helping a person in distress. If the person is in distress, the distress itself may be mental. The distress itself may be mental distress. We were asked in the last class, can somebody go to a person who is vast about helping people regarding depression? He knows how to address the matters of sadness and all of this. Yes, you can go. And if he's a Muslim, yes, it is good for him to do that. It is from the aspects of our need by both helping a person who is consumed in distress, helping a person who is consumed in sadness. It is lawful in Islam, and it is from the aspects of sadaqah. And this one happens a lot. Ustaz, my wife did this. Ustaz, my husband did this. Ustaz, my father did this. Ustaz, my mother did this. We have this kind of thing. Give them good words. Help them relieve a life of joy and cheerfulness. All of these also comes from the aspects of sadaqah. And beg Allah to make us understand better than we have tried to explain the hadith. If we have a few questions, inshallah, we can take one or two questions before we call it a day today, inshallah. Abu Yusuf.
جزاكم الله خيرا يا شيخنا. أحسن الله إليكم.
آمين وأنتم جزاكم الله خير.
Now the first question says, how do we balance between doing good deeds and fearing that it may not be accepted, along with having good thoughts of Allah?
Well, having the fear that good deeds may not be accepted, this fear usually comes from two angles. One of them comes from the angle that you want to try to do the good deed very well. It brings a consciousness that be careful about the good deed. Be careful about your intention. You are afraid of your intention. You are also afraid of being able to do it properly. Because good deeds, two things make them good. Those two things must come together. If they don't come together, it is not a good deed, no matter how good it appears. The first one is that you doing it must be of ikhlas. You must have ikhlas for niyyah. What does that mean? You want to do that deed for the sake of Allah. Not because you want to be praised. Not because you want to show off. Not because you want to become proud and oppressive. Some people show you kindness because they want to control you tomorrow. They want to be able to command you. They want to be able to stand up, sit down. When you do good deeds because of these kinds of intentions, your good deed is not acceptable. Even if you give these words to that person as a gift, it is not acceptable. Why? The idea, the intention behind it, the meaning behind it is bad. It is it is a bad intention that destroys the good deeds. May Allah protect us. So you may become afraid and you become desirous to protect your intention, to be sure that I am doing it for the sake of Allah. This struggle can bring a fear in the mind. The second condition about good deeds is that it must be in the way that the Messenger ﷺ has taught us that we should do it. So these two things, when we do sadaqah, when we do good deeds with them, then it is considered a good deed. Now we may become afraid. How do I protect my intention? How do I also protect how I do the good deed so that I do it properly? If fear now makes you do the good properly, this kind of a fear is a good one. The fear that guides you to help do that good properly. This fear is good. There is a second kind of fear that is brought about by shaitan. That fear that makes you think that, oh, I can't do this good deed, so let me leave it. Why? I'm afraid that I may not be able to do it well because of ikhlas. It's a shaitan that has brought this to you. Don't follow the second one. Follow the first one. Struggle with your mind. Struggle with yourself to be sure that the good deed is properly done. Don't nurse a fear regarding doing a good deed, such that in the end you don't do that good deed. No, do the good deed. Even though shaitan seeks to make you become afraid of your intention or afraid of your ability to do that good well, and then you lose that good deed completely. The early Muslims, Al-Imām Ibrāhīm, he used to say that tarkul amal bi ajli nas. You are afraid that, oh, this good deed, if I do it, people will be shouting my name. It will be, that is the real itself. So let us protect ourselves. Let's not allow shaitan to push us away from the path of goodness. You want to do good deeds, make sure you are sincere. Make sure you protect how you go about it and do that good deed properly. Don't allow shaitan to bring fear to your mind to such an extent that the last thing you now do is to abandon the good deed. If you abandon the good deed, he has succeeded in preventing you from that good deed. And that is his own job. He does not want you to do it. So don't allow shaitan this kind of a victory over you. May Allah protect that guides you to do the good deed well. This one is good and lawful. There is the fear, there is a fear that pushes you, and then you want to leave the good deed. This kind of a fear is agitated from shaitan, and it is not lawful. Don't be afraid like that. I hope that it is clear, Abdur-Raūf.
نعم يا شيخنا جزاكم الله خيرا.
You were not in class yesterday.
Please, what is the reason? No, my network took me out.
Yes, I noted.
نعم يا شيخنا.
There was a question that we had said that I was going to mention today. I just remembered now. In fact, I said it will be the first question we will attend to today. If a Muslim accidentally, the life of a non-Muslim, a Christian accidentally becomes taken by a Muslim, such as it happens during accidents. A Muslim can be driving. Something happens, he swerves off the road, and then he hits a non-Muslim, and that non-Muslim dies. So the question came, what is upon this Muslim? Well, what is upon him? This matter comes from the aspect of killing a person, like the Quran said. Think that is in Surah An-Nisa. And that can even happen to a Muslim. The life of a Muslim can go off from the hands of a Muslim by mistake. He did intend to kill him, and then he dies from his hand. Like Allah says to us in that verse, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ أَنْ يَقْتُلَ مُؤْمِنًا إِلَّا خَطَأً. It is not for a Muslim to have the life of another Muslim taken from his hands, except by a mistake. If it is deliberate, then that's a big sin. Very, 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 very serious. That can make a person stay in Jahannam for as long as Allah wills. For a long time. Because he mentioned it the way he mentioned how a kafir is to stay in Jahannam. Khalidan fiha. Also in Surah. even though the ulama say al-khulud in this case will be khulud, but it is a khulud that is based upon yes, as Allah wants it for as long as Allah desires, because he will still gain from his iman and will be removed from Jahannam, as every person will be removed from Jahannam who is a Muslim who practices upon iman. So to kill a Muslim deliberately is a very, very big sin. May Allah protect all of us. The Messenger ﷺ said that a person will be upon soundness in his being as long as he does not have a blood on his neck. It's a very evil thing to have a blood on your neck. May Allah protect all of us, whether by mistake or deliberately. May Allah protect all of us. It's a big evil. So if it now happens that a Muslim passes away from the hand of another Muslim, this one happens a lot in accidents. So what will he do? Two things. تحرير رقبة and diya. وَدِيَةٌ مُسَلَّمَةٌ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ. Allah mentioned that in that verse, I think Surah An-Nisa. تحرير رقبة is to free a slave. وَدِيَةٌ مُسَلَّمَةٌ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ. And you pay diya. So these are two things the person does. If you kill a Muslim out of mistake, maybe you were even just quarreling. As two people quarrel. You pushed him, he pushed you. You pushed him back. He just fell down and died. That pushing is not killing. It's the pushing of a fight. He only intended to push him. You pushed him just as gentle as a push. He fell down and he died. He did not hit his head again. He went down like that and he died. They say you killed him out of error, because what he did is not an action of killing, like raising a machete now. If you raise a machete against somebody and the person dies out of your harming him with that machete, that is killing. Why? Machetes kill. You won't raise a machete against somebody and say, I did not intend to kill. No, it is killing. So Allah protect all of us from this evil. So if it happens that the life of a Muslim became taken by Allah, like it happened in the time of Musa alayhi salam, he only punched the man and the man fell down and died. Musa did not intend to kill the man deliberately. So if that now happens, the person kills another Muslim out of mistake, not deliberately. Khata'an. What he will do is tahriru raqaba. If he has a slave, mu'mina, a believing female slave, he will free that slave and pay diya. Diya now is over 100 million. Diya now is over 100 million naira now. And that's why when we're discussing the issues about hit and sin, the ulama say, bil ijma', that money is upon the entirety of his family. So you families, teach your children, teach yourselves to be good. If it happens that someone else's life became taken away from one of you, all of you will be guilty of that blood money to be paid to the family of the person who was the victim. Adiyah is upon al-akila, is upon the family, the keep and king. All of you will pay that. The blood relatives, all of you, you'll be helped to pay. You have about 3 years to pay that money. 100 million, over 100 million, over 120 million now. You have up to 3 years to pay the money. So that is regarding a Muslim. Two things. Now what if he does not have a slave? Then he fasts for 2 months consecutively. If he does not have a slave, we are talking about Muslim. He fasts for 2 consecutive months. So without leaving a day aside. If he deliberately leaves a day aside, he starts again. He must fast those days, and that fasting is compulsory. And it can include fasting on Saturday because it's an obligatory fast. I hope that is clear. If a Muslim kills a Muslim, he pays it. Mistakenly, he pays the diya, and then he fasts for 2 consecutive months. Now, if a Muslim kills a non-Muslim, بينكم وبينهم وبينكم ميثاق, is a non-Muslim, and there is the general agreement of mutual, we are living together as the kind of community we have. If it happens that the person who died was a non-Muslim, And we are all living together in the community as we live now. The same thing. You pay the visa and it will fast for 2 months. Now scholars now differ regarding a matter. This is the basic thing. Because in that verse, Allah says, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ فَصِيَامُ شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ. If he does not have a slave to free, and he does not have the jizya, it came before Allah saying, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ فَصِيَامُ شَهْرَيْنِ. The basic rule is free a slave and pay jizya. So, which one is Allah talking about when he says, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ? Is it فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ, the one who does not find a slave, and he does not find the jizya? فَصِيَامُ شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ. He should fast for 2 consecutive months. Or فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ, the one who does not find a slave to free, then is the one. Which one is it that if he cannot find? But the large majority of the ulama say that it is the one who cannot find a slave to free. If a Muslim mistakenly kills a non-Muslim, that we are all living together, 2 things are due on him. Freeing a slave and then paying the jizya. The jizya you pay is half the jizya of a Muslim. If the jizya of a Muslim, for example, is 120 million, the jizya of a Christian is 60 million. Except the 2 families agree upon a compensation less than the jizya. Otherwise, the jizya of a Christian is half the jizya of a Muslim village man. So if now you don't have the jizya, the blood money, the compensation money, likewise you don't have a slave, a female slave to free, what do? This is the issue. The one who does not have the jizya, or he has the jizya, which one? Which one is he free from when Allah says, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ فَصِيَامُ شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ? But the large majority say that what the Sharia leaves him off is freeing a slave if you don't have a slave, fast for 2 consecutive months. Meaning that there are 2 things on you if a non-Muslim passes away from your hands mistakenly. You have the duty to pay the jizya or whatever you agree upon. If the jizya is too much, 60 million, your family and his family will be in discussion. They can say, okay, bring 5 million. They can say, okay, bring 1 million. They can even say, okay, go, please. It's also allowed. So what will remain is fasting for 2 consecutive months. This is the position of the large majority of the ulama. The large majority of the Jumhur ulama are upon the view that the jizya should still be paid unless it is overlooked. You pay the jizya and you fast for 2 consecutive months. If you drive a car and mistakenly kill a Christian in an accident, you pay the jizya or whatever you agree with the family. Then as a Muslim, you come back and fast 2 consecutive months. I hope that that matter is clear. You can go back to the Quran and look at in Surah An-Nisa around verse 90. Surah An-Nisa verse 92. So you can go back to that portion of the Quran. If you mistakenly kill a non-Muslim, a Christian, you pay the compensation, which is 60 million, the half of the compensation, about 60 million, which is the half of the compensation, the blood money for a Muslim. Then you fast for 2 consecutive months. If they dash you the money, that's good. So what is remains is for what? You come and fast for 2 consecutive months. But there are those among the scholars who also say, no, you only fast for 2 consecutive months if you don't have the ability to pay the jizya. But the strongest view, and Allah knows that the view of the Jumhur, that you pay the jizya and then you fast for 2 consecutive months. If they overlook the jizya, then that's okay for you. You still have the 2 months of fasting to make. In any of the cases, 2 months of fasting is waiting for you. May Allah protect each and every one of us from this evil. I hope that that is clear about it.
نعم يا شيخ جزاكم الله خيرا.
We stop here today. The time is really fast.
نعم يا شيخ أحسن الله إليكم.
آمين وإياكم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.